Hello, I'm James Holder, and welcome to a very special episode of Not For The News. I'm on my location at the minute, but the grind doesn't stop. Great to have you boys with us. Nighty, what's happening? You all good?
Yeah, all good, mate. Not bad at all.
Love that. Woodhouse, you're looking slightly different this week, mate. Love what you've done with the hair. You've been to Turkey, I'm taking it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, love that. Great to have Stuart with us as well. I know you're a fountain of football knowledge, regardless of supporting Tottenham, but it's great to have you on the show, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
This week, lads, I want to look at a few different things. One of the issues that I've been sort of going around in my brain is the taking of the knee. Seems to be now you can take the knee optionally. It's only going to be used at important games. What message does that send out? What are you getting from this for you fellas? Nighty, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a load of crap, mate, to be honest. From the start to now, you know, Black Lives Matter. Bruv, you're stating the obvious anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is that doing? It signals what? Getting on a knee, putting your fist in the air or whatever it is. They've got rid of the old BLM stickers and the BLM sign in the top left-hand corner of the TV when the games are playing live. They've got rid of it around the grounds and stuff. Like, you know, I don't. You got to work. You've got to work towards the problem first. Yeah, and the problem ain't getting solved. There's blacks killing blacks every single day. As we're filming this now, there's blacks killing blacks. Yeah, then they're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. Let's deal with the problem first. Yeah, let's deal with the actual problem within the communities. Let's deal with the problem first. Yeah, or let's not even first. Let's deal with the problem. Yeah, let's do that first. Why can't we do that? Why does it have to be like, oh, we're showing that Black Lives Matter? No, bruv, you're stating the obviously. All lives matter. Not just black. All lives matter. Do you know what I mean? It really gets to me. You got these, it's a rip-off. It's a con, it's a scam. You've got these organizations, Kick It Out, Black Lives Matter. Bro, Kick It Out was doing it when I was playing. Yeah? And what have they done? What are they kicked out? They give people a couple of t-shirts to wear during the flipping warm-up. Yeah? They've had a couple of banners around the side of the advertising boards and stuff. But what have you really done? What's the difference between Black Lives Matter and Kick It Out? What's the difference? Bar a person before the game taking a knee. What is the difference? It all started with the American football player. He done it.
Colneck,
yeah.
whatever his name is.
Yeah, he done it.
That's what you're on about.
He done it, and he got ridiculed for it. I'm sure he's still not even in a job now.
His career was literally on an upward trajectory. He did that. He never played again. He hasn't got the team.
So what are we doing? So why ain't he allowed back in? He started it.
Why do you think there's been a U-turn on it being sort of valid and useful for the powers that be? Why do you think they've done a U-turn on it, Nighty?
Because they've rinsed it, mate. They've got all the money and all of that they've got out of it. They've rinsed it. People are seeing through it. You got black players starting on a Saturday. People are kneeling. They're just standing up. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think people would do well to look at these charities? And I'm not singling out any charity in particular, but a lot of the charities involved in football and working out where the money went at the high end, at the top end of that charity.
Where is the money? This is what did I just now say in between my little speech that I was doing? It is a scam. Where's the money? What's happening from this? And Kick It Out. What is actually happening? Where's the money? Who is getting the money? Who's at the head to where they're saying, okay, distribute this here, distribute that there. Who is that? Like, where's the peas?
I just want to say I haven't got the information to know where the money's being spent, so I can't speak on behalf of these charities that we're alleging the money's not finding its way down to the proper channels. But I would like, from my own personal view, to know how much of the money is allocated at the top end from every charity to people who are in positions of power within that charity and organisation.
It will be outstanding, bro. It is an absolute scam. I've said it from the beginning. When I said it, first of all, everybody was on my back on Twitter. Now, people are saying the same thing. The same thing. What is the Black Lives Matter thing about? What we trying to achieve here? Like, what was the achievement? What was we trying to do? Like, what was we trying to... Okay, Black Lives Matter, cool, no problem. We hear what you're saying. But with the charities and stuff and where all the money's going, what was we trying to achieve? Like, what was it?
I think they were trying to highlight and trying to get equality for black players or black people within the game and within society. I believe that's what the goal of trying to highlight that was. But whether that's been successful or not, and now to U-turn on it, it clearly feels that maybe that it hasn't worked so far, and it's not as successful as maybe they would have hoped.
Zaha said it the best, mate. Zaha for Crystal Palace said it the best. If I have to take a knee to show that Black Lives Matter, we've got a problem. We've actually got a problem. We've got a major problem.
I watched that. Yeah, I watched that podcast with Zaha, and I thought he spoke brilliantly on it. Do you think more current players need to speak out, Nighty, and share their views on it, as Wilfried Zaha did?
100%. 100%. I rate what he said highly. I rate what he said highly. Highly. It was an American thing that was going on. We took it over here, and man, a few people thought, oh, boom, yeah, we try and get onto this, and it exploded, yeah, because of like the snowflake community that we're in. Everybody's offended. Then it got to the Premier League. Then it got on our armbands and on our stickers on our sleeves. Then it got around. Then people are taking the knee. Like, come on, bruv. Like, I rate the people that don't take the knee. What are you taking the knee for? You're segregating everything from you take the knee. No, we're all one. At the end of the day, we're all one. You take our skin off, and we're all the same underneath. Do you know what I mean? You're making it seem like there's a divide between people. There ain't. The Russians said, "Fuck this. Take a knee? You're having a laugh, mate. I ain't taking no knee. For what?"
Now, lads, coming away from this issue, because we know it's going to see how it plays and runs concurrently, so we can sort of update the viewers on it. I want to look at something else that was in the news recently, and that's Napoli chairman insisting that he will not sign any African players in the future. Basically on the basis of the African Cup of Nations takes away his talent for too long. Having dealt with it with Koulibaly in the past, I'm guessing that was a big blow. Osherman as well, plays for the club. There's quite a few players of African connections and roots who will be involved in tournaments. What do you make of his comments? Is he right to be openly honest? Is he wrong to discriminate against a man who wants to represent his country? What are your thoughts on it, Nighty?
Well, at the end of the day, it's his money. At the end of the day, it's the way he wants to run his club. But me personally, how long's the African Nation Cup been going on? Years. Donkey's years. I don't know. I don't see why it's become such a major problem now. And, he's taking, these such drastic steps to say, he's not signing any African players and stuff like that and whatever. I don't see, why he's taking that step. But, like I said, it's his club. He runs it how he wants to run it. And in a sense, in a slight bit of sense, I see what he's saying, because if your best players like Sadio Mane was at Liverpool, Yeah, they all want to represent their country, which is fair dues, and so they should do. Yeah, but at the time, it just flipping knocks on the door of the same of the league games and stuff, and like I said, Sadio Mane, elite top end player at Liverpool at that time when he had to go. Salah, I mean, they lost their strike force basically. Do you know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, but I think it's a bit drastic. But I actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I hear that. But taking away a player's pride to play for his nation, in some way, it could be taking away value from his own asset.
Yeah.
How many times have players gone to the African nations and blew up, become bigger stars than they were for their sort of club sides?
Mm-hmm.
So, bizarre one. Stuart, can I bring you in? What are your thoughts on it, and how would you handle it if a manager said, "I'm not signing said player because he will go away in the summer and play in the European Football Championships"? Shoe reversal. What's your take on it, mate?
It's a bit mental, isn't it? Really, like if a player's good enough, a player's good enough, and if the team's good enough, then they're going to have backup for him anyway, to a certain extent. Like Nighty says, the African Cup of Nations has been going on for years and years and years and years. When AC Milan were one of the top teams, they had George Weah, and he'd go off every winter or every other winter, whenever it was, and they were just fine. I don't know why the bloke from Napoli thinks that his team's so special. Obviously, it's not special enough because he can't do without his African contingent. But I don't know. Again, I agree with Nighty. I get what he's saying, but it's nothing new. So why is he kicking up a fuss now?
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? It is a strange one.
It is
because you obviously want the best for your club, but to sort of, I don't know, blanket ban a whole continent, okay, for some players being selected for a tournament, it seems a bit extreme.
Well, it does. It's kind of like how are the players from these countries going to progress? At the end of the day, regardless of how good their raw talent is, if they're going to progress in the game, then they need to be playing at the top clubs with the top facilities. And if all that's being kiboshed because managers are now saying, "No, I don't want players from that country because they're going to be buggering off for a tournament every winter," it's not really fair, is it? It's not. What happens if other clubs start following suit and saying, "Yeah, he's right. We're going to just not sign African players anymore"? Are we going to have a similar thing like from years ago when French teams were signing a whole bunch of African players and saying they were French, just so they couldn't go and play? And it's weird. He doesn't. I don't know. It's been this way for years. Like why now? Why now? But to be honest, so long as he goes through with his signing of Ndombele for us, I don't really care.
Do you know what it is? I reckon it must have done his head in over the past few seasons.
Yeah.
He signed all these African ballers,
Yeah.
and then you're telling him, like, we're playing AC Milan or Juventus on Saturday, and I ain't got Osimhen, I haven't got Koulibaly. And I know there's more African players in his squad, so he must have just pickled his brain with all the amount of games he hasn't had his top players for.
Yeah, but you'd know that when you signed them. Like Nighty said, it's been this way for decades. People know this. And if you're going to sign a player in August that plays for Cameroon, and you don't think to yourself when you're signing them, going off in December and January for a month to play for Cameroon, I'm not going to have him. If you don't make allowances for that, then more fool you. It's not the Cameroonian player's fault. It's the team's fault for not making allowances for it.
Yeah. I find it weird how certain players be put under pressure not to play for their country. It's ridiculous. It's a huge honour to play for your nation. Like you to be told you can't go to an African Cup of Nations. That's enough to send some players AWOL. So bizarre situation.
It's basically like saying you're not going to the World Cup.
Pretty much, yeah. You're not going Euros. That's you. You're done. We need you here, Night. Do you mean?
Yeah. When what's happening with the World Cup this year?
Well, players are going to be released for the World Cup, and that's it. It's going to be mid-season. There's going to be a break before Christmas, and I'm guessing the clubs will be hoping that players don't come back injured or completely worn out to pick up the second half of the season.
So is there going to be a break? A World Cup break?
It's got to be. How else are they going to play it? They They can't just let teams play without all the World Cup players. Surely, it's not as mixed much as the African Cup.
They do the same for the African nations. So I'm just saying.
I hope you're right, Helder, because like if they don't do a break, Liverpool are going to run away with it because Egypt aren't in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You know, England and South Korea are both in it. Tottenham will be knackered.
While we're on the subject of chairman, okay, does a toxic chairman or having a chairman that is perceived to be toxic by the fans, does that have a bad impact on the dressing room, on the team, on the manager? I suppose it's more of a question for you, Nighty, having sort of been around it. What are your thoughts on a bad chairman and negative impact from the top downwards?
The best chairmen are not seen.
Serious.
Jack Walker. You know, chairmen like that, like they just fund and make sure the structure and everything's staying within. And do you know what I mean? It's the chairman that look at the Leicester chairman that died sadly in that helicopter crash. Chairman like that. Do you get what I'm saying?
You read my mind. I was thinking the same thing there, Nighty.
Yeah. You don't see them, but what they're doing, you can see. Blackburn Rovers, Premiership title. Leicester City, Premiership title. They're the chairman you want to be. The chairman that you don't want to be. The chairman that are just there, you know, complaining, just not doing the best for the club. They're the chairman you don't want to be around, mate. Honestly, yeah, they're the chairman you do not want to be around. You know, if the club, if you're, say for instance, I'll put Tottenham, and then you're hearing Levy or Levi or whatever you want to call him, yeah, that ain't. You don't need that. Every time you hear Tottenham or whatever and something's going wrong, you hear his name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
still him over the Glazers at the moment, though, wouldn't you?
Not what it's same thing. Glazers as well. Like you hear Man United, all you hear Glazers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the things.
It's bang on because, like, when talking about Levy, when we had Pochettino and Mourinho and whatnot, Levy was in the picture all the time, and that's why we didn't do nothing really.
Exactly.
Whereas now, I think because Conte is kind of a we do it my way or the highway kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hands on.
Back. And so because Levy's stepping back, Spurs are doing better, and they've got, you know, they're doing a lot better than they were because he's actually being a chairman as opposed to like the manager's best mate kind of deal.
Yep.
Fires him, you know.
Yep. And that's not just having a that's not just having a go at Tottenham.
No, but we do like to have the odd go at Tottenham. See, with the Glazers, the amount of money that they've invested, are the fans right to be giving them such a hard time? Like when you've got chairmen out there that literally don't invest in the team, look to sell the best players. The Glazers have invested a hell of a lot of money in the team. Whether they've got it right or wrong, that's not what I'm saying. Are the fans right to be so anti-Glazer?
I'm kind of I'm in the middle of it. I think you hear their name a bit too much. So there's things going on behind the scenes that probably we don't know about, and that's why their names are getting called. But on the flip side to that, player wise, you can't really have a goal. Really, it's just you got to probably look at the recruitment side and who's bringing these players in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you got to look at that side. It can't really be down to the Glazers for the actual signings of players.
Big point.
You've got to kind of separate them from that because they've put their money on the table. They've bought Sancho, he ain't worked. They've bought, who else they've bought? Flipping out, they've bought so many players in. And
Varane,
he's mediocre-ish. Listen, they've put their money on the table. They're still up there now with the spenders, the highest spenders. Like, so you've got to look at the scouts. You got to look at who does these transfers, you know, and then it falls on the actual players. You know, you're out there, you're getting paid stupid amount of money, and you're not performing, basically. Like, let's just, without beating around the bush, you're not performing. So, you know.
I saw a list of players that fell into good, okay, or bad in the signing list for Manchester United. And I would say 70% of their squad and past signings over the last 5 years fell into the bad category. Yeah. How can someone continuously get things this wrong and still be in a job, okay? So if we go to work on a Monday and we completely fuck it up, and then on a Tuesday we go to work and we completely mess it up again, excuse my language, and then we continue this pattern season after season, we're not going to be in our jobs respectively of whatever they are. How are these scouts, how are these people approving these transfers time and time again, still able to be in work? How come they're not getting the pelters that the Glazers are getting?
It's a good point.
For Glazers to get rid of them, innit? I suppose that's the thing. Like, shit rolls downhill, as they say, doesn't it? So it's the scouts' faults at the end of the day. But who's responsible for the scouts? Director of football? Do you have a go at him? If it's not the director of football, then it goes up with hill to the board, which is the Glazers. So there is the Glazers are at fault because they're the ones that are responsible for hiring the people that are buying these crap players. So you can't blame them for buying the players, but you can blame them for having the people there that are meant to be identifying who's good enough for Man United that obviously aren't good enough for Man United. But that's as far as
where are the Man United people? Where are the Man United people? Where are the people in the era gone by that vetoed these players, that approved these players? It seems like it's crumbling. Like the system of Man United had, which was built on the history of Manchester United, it seems that they've lost a generation's worth of history. Do you think that's to do with the amount of managers they've had come in a short-term time span with the turnaround of staff? How do you put your finger on it?
You get good results. You get a good club. You get a good changing room and group of lads with stability. You keep chopping and changing, and it does no good within the club. It does no good in the changing room. It does no good for anybody. Now, as we know, Man United had the same manager for, 18 years? In Sir Alex Ferguson. And they built an absolute monster of a club and a changing room. And they had it to where anybody that came in had to fit within what was going on within that changing room. Now, that ain't the case. There's no leader. There's no Roy Keane. There's no Gary Neville. There's no Eric Cantona. There's no Mark Hughes. All of these people are different. There's no Dwight York, Andy Cole. There's nobody. I mean, they've brought in players that you thought, he might not do well there, but you did. Look, Veron, they brought him in. All right, he might have not lived up to expectations to what everybody, but he weren't like, to say, a Pogba where everything's, all over the gaff and stuff. Do you know what I mean? He was in the circle. He had to behave. He had to be, follow by rules. And that in Man United has gone out the window.
That's the biggest issue, isn't it? They haven't got anybody that cares enough.
Same thing as Arsenal as well. You had a manager that was there for decades. Yeah? You had a changing room that was built around winners. Yeah? You had winners within the club. That all went out the window. And then you have what we have now, and then you got a rebuilding process where now you have to have a man. You can't chop and change every 2 years of a manager and then expect success. It doesn't happen.
Nighty, while we're on the fact of monsters and footballing monster mentality, I want to bring up Jurgen Klopp throwing some shade on Gabby Agbonlahor. So Klopp's driving in his motor after the game. He's listening to TalkSport and he hears Agbonlahor absolutely ripping Man United into shreds, okay? He's fuming. He's sitting there. He's livid. He felt like phoning up the show. His quote was, when Agbonlahor, Gabby, lost 6-0 against us in my first season, don't remember him having that monster mentality. Him and other pundits need to remember what it was like when they actually played the game. Yeah, shut him down. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't really rate Gabby Agbonlahor anyway, to be honest, as a player. Do you know what I mean? He was just a speed merchant, really. So, you know how it is. You got Jamie O'Hara speaking there, and he weren't no portion of player himself. They get these roles within the media and stuff, and then they start speaking out of term. I mean, I speak out of term, but I couldn't give a shit. Them man that speak out of term, and they're speaking out of term in a way where it's, how can I put it? I don't even know the word, but it's very, very disrespectful, should I just say? Yeah, it's very disrespectful. If I'm speaking out of term, yeah, I'm speaking out of term and saying Gabby Agbonlahor, speed merchant. Basically, Jamie O'Hara, just a dog in midfield, really. This is not that disrespectful, but when they're talking and they're talking on flipping Salah and they're speaking on who was Jamie O'Hara speaking on the other day? He was talking about who was it that he was chatting about?
I don't know. I'll try not to listen to him all that much, even if he is ex-Tottenham.
He was speaking about somebody, and I was just saying to myself, who was he talking about?
Was it Maguire? Was it on Maguire?
I don't know. But I know he's spoken a few times, and he's also said, you can't take these people serious, because he was talking about Tottenham are back and they've got Conte and blah, blah, blah. I think this was like when Conte first came in and blah, oh yeah, we're back. And you just thinking to yourself,
back for
without being disrespectful to you, yeah, because I know you're Tottenham, but where are you coming back from?
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
Don't get me wrong.
They haven't been anywhere since the 60s.
Don't get me wrong. I think you lot are going to be a problem this season. Yeah? But when you're with this is what I'm trying to say about these guys getting positions of power in the media and they start talking, yeah? They start chatting shit. I'm going to chat shit about somebody, but the shit I'm chatting, the shit is people can say, okay, yeah, cool, no problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? These people are talking Tottenham are back. Tottenham are back where? Where are you coming back from? The 1990 FA Cup final?
Yeah.
Like, where are you coming back from, bro? Do you get what I'm saying? So I hear what Klopp's saying. I fully hear what Klopp's saying. And sometimes, including myself, we have to look at it and go, well, when I was playing, it was blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and rare. Like, I say the same thing on the Black Lives Matter stuff. Mm-hmm. All these black players are coming out now. You'll never hit. And me personally, I didn't say anything. I didn't give a 2 Fs about any. If somebody said anything racist to me, I would have just dealt with it right there and then. Not knowing I don't know what I would have done. Maybe cuss them out or even attack them or whatever. I don't know. But I wasn't one to be saying, oh, Black Lives Matter, this and the other. And now, these people, yeah, these old black players, yeah, are going on like it really matters. What about when you was in a position of power, bruv? What about when you was in a position of power? Where was you at that point then? You was in the pub going, what? I don't know, like, yeah, get them in. You didn't care. The people that was older than me when I was coming up. Yeah? and it's no disrespect. I'm only saying the people now, who I'm going to mention the names, is because they was before me. I.e., at Chelsea, Trevor St. Clair, Adam Newton, Mark Spencer, Marcel Desailly, Celestine Baballero. All these black players were before me. They never done nothing. But now you see them and they're on the TV, it's Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives didn't matter back then. Oh, is it because you was just enjoying yourself? Yeah. It was like kind of, okay, let it slide. Is that what it was? You're not going to hear me saying Black Lives Matter. So nobody can draw me in and say, oh, but what about when you was playing? Oh, listen, brother, I don't care. Kick It Out was there. I didn't even wear the shirt. I was going out. I didn't have to kick a shirt on. I refused it. So I'm just saying, yeah, you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose when Black Lives Matter, brother.
Yeah, I hear that.
You can't pick and choose, brother. All these old folks, all these old black footballers, yeah, they piss me off. All of them. All of them piss me off.
For what reason, Nighty?
Because, bro, they're just hypocrites. They chat shit. They chat shit. Simple.
But can you understand if they would have come out when they were playing, they might have been cancelled. They might have been labelled a bad egg, a bad attitude, a chip on his shoulder. All those terminologies that are used to bring a player down, if you know what I'm trying to get at.
Patrick Vieira couldn't be cancelled. Marcel Desailly couldn't be cancelled. These people could not be cancelled. You can't cancel them people. You can't cancel them people. It's impossible. Emil Heskey, you couldn't cancel him. You're not cancelling them. Them players are too high profile to cancel. Yeah?
Yes.
It would have been impossible to cancel. Why are you cancelling them? There were people to be coming out. Why are you cancelling them? Well, because they're standing up and saying blah, blah, blah. No.
And that, with the greatest respect, that's the 1% of the 1%. So you're talking of the 1% that made it. You've got the 1% of elite black players that could have stood up and not been cancelled. Right. Everybody else was still under that cancel blanket, you know what I mean?
But if they would have come out and said, and then the people underneath the 1% who could have been cancelled come out and goes, yeah, who you cancelling? You can't not cancel them and then cancel the people underneath. That don't make no sense. But this is what I'm trying to say. There's power in masses. Yeah.
No, I hear that.
There's power.
I'm interested to see how it evolves from here. Okay, if the knee is not going to be applicable, are we now just forgetting about the campaign of trying to get equality and rid the game of racism? What's going on? Like, that's my question for it.
I don't know how anybody feels on here about what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's the same as COVID. Nobody's chatting about COVID right now. Nobody's chatting about Black Lives Matter. Nobody. It's as if it's just vanished. It's just gone.
Yeah. It's a strange one, isn't it?
It's when they decide it's newsworthy, isn't it, really? Like he says, so we're same as COVID. It's even same as the war in Ukraine. It's all a rage for a little while, and then it falls away. But it doesn't go away. It's just not being reported on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and Nighty's bang on. Like the Black Lives Matter thing at the moment is almost just becoming tokenism. Taking the knee.
Do you think?
Do you
think these things have big advertising campaigns behind them? They spend big money and big budgets. So them column inches that you're referring to, we saw monetized. They were paid column inches rather than people genuinely reporting on it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Makes you think though, doesn't it? say you had this company and this idea, and you spent 100 grand on PR, okay, or 200 grand on PR, how much money would that machine generate back? This is the question that we asked at the start of the show today. Where is these monies from these charities? And I'm not naming any charity in this. We just want to find out, where is the actual money going? How much of that is allocated to salaries of the people at the top of these charities, rather than people at the bottom who are doing the everyday groundwork that charities do?
Because how long do these things have to be done before things change? Look how long Kick It Out's been done. How long the things that where surely you're getting money because the company's still running. So how long does it have to go on before things change?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I'd love to get someone from these charities involved in football in particular on to speak about it a little bit, because if we haven't got the right information and we're missing something out, I'd like to tell us, because we're certainly all ears to find out where and how the money's spent when it comes to these type of things. And if so, like we got at as well, was there an ad campaign? Was there a monetization? Was there a strategic plan to get people talking about this, to raise money, to raise awareness? Or was there more sort of a sinister ploy of greed? I hate to be sort of cynical with things, but we all know how the world works, you know what I mean?
Black Lives Matter. Does Black Lives Matter in boxing?
What do you mean?
It's
never really come up. It's never really come up. Boxing is one of the very few sports you never get any racism, you know, right?
Because you know why? Do you know why?
They can fight and sort it out. There's no difference.
Do you know why? Do you know why you don't get it? It's because it's just nobody cares.
No. And to be honest, yeah, some of the most horrific banter I've ever heard, in terms of, it will crucify someone. You get cancelled if you heard the banter goes on in the boxing gym between an Asian man and a black man and a white man.
Yeah.
They'll be cancelled, and they don't take any offence in it. Like, it's just boxing, like you say, it's a different sport. It's a different sport. Like, I know that the football change rooms can be a brutal place. I can half imagine it. But if you saw the banter that goes on in any boxing club up and down the country, and people laughing and not taking offence and laughing at themselves, it's a different world. Completely different world, boxing. Completely different world. Completely different. Yeah. No, have you ever suffered racial abuse?
Yeah.
What, is there an incident or a story like?
Yeah, we under 19s. We was playing in Czechoslovakia for England, and I went to take out a corner and someone threw a banana on the pitch, banana skin on the pitch.
Wow.
So I picked it up and I threw it back in the crowd. And that was it.
Was there a liaison officer after? Did you have to sort of talk about what had happened in the incident and the event? No. Or was it pre sort of?
Oh. Bro, we're in Czechoslovakia. What do you expect?
Yeah.
These people don't see black people. What do you expect? They're getting pumped. Yeah. They're not happy. Yeah, it's the same with. I also received it. Well, not just me. In was playing England as well. In Italy.
Well, this from one of the other players, mate.
Yeah, one of the other players. This was for the Italy.
Yeah, and see, this is what I'm going to ask you about, because the first incident, in my eyes, is bad racism, but it's faceless racism. It's come from someone you can't identify in a crowd. How did that feel when it was inflicted by an opponent, man to man? How did you sort of take that when the Italian footballer was racist to United?
Game got abandoned.
Really?
We kicked off.
Wow.
Yeah, we kicked off. But like my era, yeah. My era, we was, if we don't like what you're saying, we're fighting. Yeah. End of story. Yeah. There ain't no, we're going to try and sort it out or whatever. Yeah. No. He must have said something like monkey or made some monkey noises. Yeah. And then I started kicking off. Jay Bothroyd started kicking off. Defoe started kicking off. Ron Ricketts started kicking off. And we just all kicked off in the end. Everyone ran off the pitch. And the game got abandoned. End of story.
Wow. Do you remember who the player was, mate?
No. I can't remember who he was. Oh. He's a centre midfield player, though. I know that.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, mate. It took a few times, like, do you know what I mean? But when you go to these countries, especially back then, not now, you wouldn't really expect it, even though it happens. Yeah. But back then, what did you expect? Like, come on, man, what do you actually expect?
Yeah. No, these countries, you can't let them off the hook with this back then talk. You've only got to look at how someone like Mario Balotelli's been treated over the years
No,
from the Italian press and public. Don't even let them off the hook like that. Night.
No,
they
I'm not. They never got off the hook. The Italians never got off the hook because they was getting studs and everything. So they never got off the hook. If you chat shit, you're gonna get slapped up or something's gonna happen. And that's not some of me going on like we're bad. We just stuck up. We just said no, fuck this.
Do you think that's what's wrong with people today? They haven't got the deterrent of getting a kick in, that they can just say whatever they want to someone.
Exactly. And then as soon as you put your hands on them, they're or whatever and this, that, and the other. But you know, what did Mike Tyson say? The internet's made it cool for you to chat shit until you get punched in the mouth or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But
Big Mike's got a point, to be fair.
Of course he has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course he has. Everyone wants to chat. Like, I will chat shit. And I'm what, 5'6.5".
Yeah, but you're a black belt in karate night.
But that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. Yeah. But I'll expect if I'm chatting shit and someone don't like it, there's gonna be something. Someone's gonna be upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today's kids want to just chat shit and expect nothing to happen.
Yeah. Different generations, isn't it?
Different
generations.
It's massive.
Social media has made people acceptable with getting lemon, isn't it? It's just,
it's not just that. People are more happy to get lawyered up than they are tooled up these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't even mind tooled up. Just bloody meet up and sort out your differences, man. Yeah, like just be a man about it.
Exactly.
Anyway, on that note, enjoyed both your company today.
Brilliant.
Got to say, Stuart, you've been 100 times better than that big oaf we've normally got. I tell him his head's shrinking every week to make him feel better, but it's not. If you're watching this, Woodhouse, work harder, mate. You know what I mean? Be kind. Boys, got to say it's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to catching you on maybe Saturday or Monday for our weekend roundup.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. Thank you very much for your time today, lads. It's been a great
pleasure.
Lads.
Cheers, boys.
See you soon.
Mate.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks.